Am I the a-hole for exposing my best friend's lie that cost her the job and ruined her career? So I, 28F, am really torn and honestly hoping for some perspective. Deep down, I feel like I did what was right, but the fallout has been intense, and now I'm wondering if I went too far. Let me start from the beginning. I've spent the last few years grinding hard, taking courses, building my resume, networking relentlessly, all with the hope of landing my dream job at a major tech company. This wasn't just a job for me, it was the job. Competitive salary, incredible growth, cutting-edge projects. It was the kind of role that could completely transform my career trajectory. Now, enter Jessie, 29F, my best friend of over a decade. We've seen each other through messy breakups, job losses, family issues, you name it. We were practically inseparable. I've always believed in lifting each other up, and I was proud of the way we supported one another, especially when it came to career goals. I'd helped her revamp her resume, practiced mock interviews with her, and even referred her to recruiters I'd worked with. I never once saw her as competition until I had to. When Jessie told me she was applying to the same company, I honestly didn't think much of it. I figured we'd both try, and whoever got the role deserved it. Friendly competition, right? I even encouraged her, saying, if we both make it in, imagine how awesome that would be. I meant it. The interview process was intense. We went through multiple technical rounds, leadership assessments, and cultural fit interviews. And finally, I got the call. I was offered the role. I was shaking, crying, laughing. Every emotion all at once. Years of sacrifice had finally paid off. But Jessie's response was strange. She didn't even smile when I told her. Just nodded and muttered a clipped, "Congrats." No hug, no excitement, no "let's celebrate." It was like a switch had flipped. Over the next few days, she kept her distance. I chalked it up to disappointment. Understandable. But something didn't sit right. Then, 2 days later, I got an abrupt email from HR. The wording was odd. They said they were reevaluating their hiring decision and would follow up soon, but to remain patient. I panicked. I reached out and they said they had decided to move forward with another candidate. No explanation. Just a vague assurance that they'd keep me in mind for future roles. I was stunned. Heartbroken even. What had gone wrong? A week later, I found out the other candidate was Jessie. She didn't tell me herself. A mutual friend casually brought it up, thinking I already knew. I was blindsided. I called Jessie to confirm, and she admitted it with a weirdly smug tone. "Yeah, I got it," she said, followed by a shrug. Then came the real kicker. "I mean, I'm just more suited for the role, don't you think?" That line kept echoing in my head. It stung. But I still didn't know why the company had dropped me so suddenly, until I got the real story. Through another mutual friend who works in recruitment, I learned that during Jessie's final interview, she had deliberately lied about me. Not small lies, huge, damaging ones. She told the hiring panel that I had issues with authority, that I undermined colleagues, had a toxic attitude, and was likely to leave the company soon due to job dissatisfaction. I was floored. Every single statement was a complete fabrication. Jessie knew I loved my job. She knew I had glowing reviews. She had literally seen me work overtime to prove myself for that opportunity. And she took everything I told her in confidence, every little vent, every late-night stress text, and twisted it into something malicious. When I confronted her, she didn't even deny it. She just said, "I did what I had to do. It's business, not personal." As if that somehow made it okay. That was the moment I snapped. I wrestled with myself for a few days. I didn't want revenge. I wasn't out to ruin her life. But what she did wasn't just unethical, it was dangerous. She weaponized our friendship to advance her own career. And worse, she tried to sabotage mine. So I took action. I contacted the company's HR department. I was careful not to get emotional or dramatic. I kept it strictly professional. I stated that I had reason to believe false and misleading statements had been made about me during another candidate's interview. I shared emails, positive performance evaluations, and statements from coworkers attesting to my work ethic and attitude. I made it clear that I wasn't trying to retaliate, only to correct the record. What happened next? I never could have predicted. A few days later, HR got back to me. They thanked me for the information and told me they had launched an internal review. And then, boom, Jessie's offer was rescinded. Not only that, they fired her before she even started. Turns out the company has a strict zero-tolerance policy for dishonesty in the hiring process. They said her behavior demonstrated poor integrity and a lack of professional ethics, and that she was no longer a candidate for any position with the company. The fallout was immediate. Jessie found out and called me screaming. She called me a traitor, a snake, a jealous backstabber. She accused me of ruining her life, her career, her future. She said I would never be forgiven and hung up. Since then, she's been on a smear campaign, telling all our mutual friends that I got her fired out of spite, that I was salty about not getting the job, that I couldn't handle competition. Some friends have sided with her. Others have gone silent. A few have reached out to say they understand, but even they seem uncomfortable now. And here I am left wondering, did I go too far? I never wanted this to happen. I didn't want her fired. I didn't want to destroy her career. But I also didn't want to be the kind of person who lets betrayal slide just because it's business. So, am I the a-hole for exposing my best friend's lies, even though it cost her everything? Because honestly, I still don't know if I did the right thing.